Hi there, and welcome to week 8
Hey,
of
Johnny, week
the
eight.
OrkneyBowl. Yeah, I can't remember. It's hard to keep track of days nowadays. But yeah, no, welcome, Craig. How's it going?
Yeah, good after. I was going to say good evening, Johnny. Good afternoon, Johnny. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Looking for
Well,
week eight in the bag.
it'll be evening for somebody.
Yeah, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, isn't it? It's always 5 o'clock
Yeah,
somewhere. But yeah, it's week eight in the bag now. 6 weeks to go. Week nine starts very soon now. Looking forward to it. And yeah, we're getting to the business end of the season, shall we say? It's what you've done up to now is great and all that. If you've started really well, fantastic. You've got a good shout. If you've not, now is the time. If you don't start winning now, then you can forget it.
definitely. Yeah, actually, there is only one team that hasn't won still, and I think the worst after that is maybe 2 wins. So
Yeah, but I certainly.
there's 1-1-7, 1-0-8, and everybody else is either 2-3 and higher. So it's
No,
getting
I'm on two now, so I've got two in a row. I'm on a wee streak.
you've been scoring well the last 2 weeks as well, to be honest. It's been I could do your score in the last 2 weeks. I'd be sitting at 8-0.
Yeah, well, it's
Uh,
certainly the players finally turned up.
definitely, but that's all you need them to do is turn up and let's say even if but we'll find out when we get to the division. We can talk about them. But yeah, it's like you say, this is where you're fighting for positions now and trying to get to the top 6. And
I mean,
then
it's we're now got 6 weeks to go. It's not even halfway. We're beyond halfway. We're now at the stage where you really got to start looking. How far am I behind? How far am I behind the playoff spots? How realistic is my chances of getting in there? And it's now is the time when you're chasing. This is when you start taking the swings. You start taking your Henderson swings because you know Stevenson's out, you can start swinging on Monona. These are the guys that can make a difference. If you're sitting on 2 and 6, 3 and 5, these are the types of guys that you can get them in your team because a lot of them have been kicking about agency, and if you're the one that gets in there first and you get them. A Kareem Hunt, for example, now that Pacheco's out as well, there's another one. If you can pick up these guys and get them in a team and they score well for you, everything can turn around in these last 6 weeks. Unless you're sitting 0-8, maybe 1-7, you're not completely out of it, not by a long way. And as you said, there's only a couple of teams that are sitting either 0-8 and 1-7. So I would say that everyone's still got a little bit to play for.
definitely. So we'll get started with the West Coast, Division 4, so the Dwarfy Stain. So you've got the Clemson Marines 189 up against the Cork Red Army 220.97. The Birmingham Patriots 207.98 against the Trinity Flyers 150.86. The Q Kings 170.66 against the Fullwood Patriots 140.32. Newcastle Magpies 196.61 against the Bangham Sharks 189.59. The Plymouth Assassins 166.77 against the Peterhead Bloody Jets 137.98. And you've got the Rhino Cardinals 161.05 against the Gloucester Wolfpack 194.33. So the top 6, well, the top 5 are all got winning records, and then you've got a couple at 4-4. Then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 at 3-5, and I've got the first 1-7 down the bottom there, the Peterhead Bloody Jets.
Yeah, I mean, the Peterhead Bloody Jets aside, poor Mark dead to the world this season. The good thing is, and we say it every week, but the good thing is in Division 4, you don't even need to worry about it anymore because there is no relegation. So, you're in Division 4 again next year, no luck, but and your season's pretty much over. But for everybody else, I mean, the sixth place Cork Red Army at 4-4 are only one game ahead of the Rhino Cardinals in 11. So absolutely everything to play for all round. There's no one's out of it at all apart from Mark. And the Newcastle Magpies and the Trinity Flyers up there, they're kind of just a win away from getting the playoff spot secured. Make 2 wins away maybe, but certainly they only need 2 out of 6. to guarantee it. So yeah, they'll be sitting quite comfortable. And the Gloucester Wolfpack, the Birmingham Patriots, the Kew Kings, they're all looking over their shoulders, aren't they? It'll be interesting to see how they've kind of started this week and what their squads are looking like to see. It's all about where the injuries are hitting now as well. There's so many injuries taking slot. It's not just the bye weeks. It's, whoever owns Sam Scarborough would have been so excited this time last week, and then a couple of hours later, their hearts are broken. And it's scary thing to happen like that. Travis Hunter owners, what a week he had in London. You think, there we go. That's why I drafted him. That's why I've brought him in, especially in an IDP like this is. And and then before he plays another game, he's on IR. And it's just that these are the things that can kill a season for a team and it's why sometimes a team that's sitting at 6-2 after 8 weeks doesn't make the playoffs, because they just get hammered with injuries, and it's there's nothing you can do about that.
No, you just have to hope they get through. I think, there's a lot of teams with some bad injuries, and there seems to be there's a lot of players being called off out this week, even more than last week. I mean, it's just it's crazy every couple of days. It's great that Mike's posting them all in the chat, but it's a bit depressing. Your players get put us out.
I mean, it's just that it's. I mean, I don't know whether it's something that. I mean, last year we were talking about this last year. I remember this time last year because, of course, it's Halloween and it's just been Halloween, which is a big holiday in America. On the Fantasy Footballers podcast, they always dress up on Halloween Day, and one of them dressed up as the blue injury tent last year. So the injuries were bad last year. But every year I think they get worse as we go. And it's a case of trying to find players that are fit. So for example, like Lamar Jackson. Managers, they've maybe lost the last couple of weeks because he's not been there. He's not been doing anything for them. But all of a sudden, he's back and he's scoring big points again. Was it 4 passing touchdowns on Thursday night? And and all of a sudden, that could be the difference between their season going to pot and coming back. So it's not just about the players who are getting injured; it's about the ones who are coming back as well. The ones that chances are that the players that are coming back, the teams that own them are on losing records because they've been missing them.
Yeah.
So things can turn around very, very quickly. And I mean, sitting at 6-2 and so for Trinity Flyers and Newcastle Magpies, they're not going to be losing any sleep if they lose this week. But if they lose this week and then they lose next week, and all of a sudden it's what's happening? Lost a couple of players. So I always say get to 8 and then you can relax, but don't relax till you get to 8 wins.
Yeah, I think it's a fact. Yeah, it's true enough. There wasn't many teams over 200 last week. You've only got 2. The Birmingham Patriots scored 5-3 and the Cork Red Army at 220. Obviously, Newcastle Magpies were close, but yeah.
There was big teams on bye weeks last week as well. Big teams were on byes, and the likes of, you have Baker Mayfield was terrible. Ibuka didn't have a big week. There was a lot of players that didn't perform. So I can imagine that the scoring's going to be a lot less this week. And I mean, it's great for the likes of Plymouth Assassins. They're sitting at 2-5, and you score 166 points. You're thinking, "Oh, my season's over." But no, it was 166 points enough to win, and all of a sudden, at 3-5, you're fine. And it's 170 points was enough to win 2 games this week in this division. So. It just goes to show you as well what bye weeks and what injuries can do to scoring. So just because if you're only scoring 180, 190 points, that might just be enough to win you the week. Always be checking.
Definitely. There is actually one team scores 65 points, but we'll get to that one later on. So obviously we've got the Cork Red Army, got 42 points start against the Birmingham Patriots. That'd be a big one for them. Clemson Marines are up against the Fulham Patriots, who've got 36 points so far. Newcastle Magpies got 13 points. The Trinity Flyers got 66 and still predicted to lose. Plymouth Assassins are up against the Kew Kings, so 3-5 against a 5-3. Massive game. Gloucester Wolfpack 5-3 up against a Bangham Sharks 3-5. A 16-point start, but projected to lose. Behind the Carnivals, they've got the bye week. They're up against the Peterhead Bloody Jets, so they're sitting 3-5. Looking to go 4-5. That'd be a big one for them, obviously. I don't know what's up with the Peter Bloody Jets, but yeah, it's this game. This league's going to be really open. If the projections
I mean, this could be this could tighten right up this division this week, depending on how the results go. It could also open up a lot, obviously, with the flip side of that, especially with the 2 6-2 teams playing each other at the top. So take them out of the equation. The rest of them are all playing each other. So if the 5-3s and the 4s and 4s lose and the 3s and 5s all win, then this is really, really tight. But the opposite, if the 5-3s can get the wins here against the teams that are below them, it's just getting them that one step closer to being in, And but the Newcastle Magpies and the Trinity Flyers, the winner of this game is pretty much going to that secures their spot. The fact that they'll have that top spot for themselves,
Especially if all the 3 and 5s beat the 5 and 3s, then that'll give them a couple of game cushion above the rest. So.
It's sure for Q Kings there at 5-3, and there's another one there at 5-3 as well. Is it Gloucester Woolpack? Are they 5-3? Yeah. If those two win and go 6-3, it's getting that wee bit ahead of the rest, And if the 5-3s can win and get to 6 now, it's leaving the 3s and 5s behind, and leave a couple of 4 and 5, 5 and 4 sitting at 5th and 6th. You get yourself to 6 and get that wee bridge between yourself and the outside the playoff spots. At the end of the day, you only need to finish 6th. It doesn't matter where else you finish, unless you win it. Obviously, you want to win the division, but outside of that, 2nd to 6th means no difference whatsoever. So just get yourself in there.
Definitely, as long as you get in the playoffs, then anything can happen. So go on to
Sunday.
Yep. Or Monday or Tuesday or Thursday, Saturday. So next up we've got the Marwick Head, Division 3. So you get the London Eagles, again scoring 228 points. And I actually thought on Monday they were predicted to win. So something obviously happened on Monday night, because the Bonnerig Chiefs got 241 points. So they've got to be the luckiest team. So they're 1-7, but they've scored over 200 points like 3 weeks in a row. And you got the Dover Dollar Diamonds. It's so
that is harsh.
171 points against 280 points not called knockouts. Darlington Dragons 207 against the Guildford Raptors 178. Lagerstow Lemons 187 against 161 Cavite Porkers. I wonder if Pork lay down for his friend there. I'm not sure, but I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. But the Bluetoon Pexons 146 against 194. The Norwich Mustard Men. The Birmingham Bears 214 against 184 Manchester Spinners. So let's see how London Eagles. I'm pretty sure it was Monday night. It swung it like.
It's the second highest score of the week in the division, and they lost. So it's a bit harsh to say that you've scored the second most points and you've lost.
Yeah, it was a bit of a sore one.
Facing Cook, obviously, and the defence didn't even do it for
and Barkley. No.
And Barkley, yeah. That's
it. I mean, the
point like he said, so got massive. I mean, that's where the points are really. That's the big difference. McCaffrey didn't do a whole lot either in the grander scheme of things. So yeah, it was very unlucky for London Eagles. It's not been Spinjo's year. That's for sure. It's and listen, sometimes you have years like that. It's fantasy football. It's why we all love it, and it's why we all hate it, at the same time. But to score 228 points and be able to beat every other team in the division and lose, take me down to let me see their points for, because their points for must be huge.
Well, they started off bad, but they're 1,400, so they would have been enough to be 10th. But
yeah.
But the last 3 weeks have been scoring.
It's been the last 3 weeks specifically, But yeah, I mean, this division's kind of it's opening up a little bit in the sense that there's so many. The 5-3 teams all drift down into 7th, So 9th, 10th, 11th, Manchester Spinners, Bluetoon Texans, Lagersville Lemons. It's a long way from there, And then of course the poor London, what are they again? London
Eagles.
The London Eagles. Yeah, they're in they're gone basically. They're 4 wins behind the playoff spots with
Ian's here.
it's yeah, so at 1-7, it's gone now because they're 4 games behind a playoff spot and 6 to go. That's just uncatchable. But yeah, I would say down to Guildford Raptors, it's all on. But below that, I would say 9, 10, 11, 12. They're looking to stay in Division 3 now because remember, relegation is very much in play. So the season's not over for any of them. But yeah, outside of that, from 8th upwards, it's going to be very tight to see who gets in. If knockouts are Guildford Raptors can overcome the 6th place. Obviously knockouts at 5 and 3 are tied with it. They've just not got the points at the moment, but it's very, very close. And any of them can win the Division 2 right down to 8th,
Yeah, Pork's only scored 1,500 points and he's sitting in second.
Yeah, he's been winning games with low scores. To be fair, it's that's what happens when you sit with 3 quarterbacks. But I've told him that before, and he doesn't listen.
No, he
So
doesn't.
yeah, 6 and 2, he's still fine. He'll be looking, at 6 and 2. You really need to fall off a cliff in order to not make it at that point with 6 games to go.
Yeah, so here we go. So we've got the 5 and 3 knockouts against the 5 and 3 Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads. The Guildford Raptors are up against the London Eagles at 1 and 7. Can they finally get that high score and win? Douglas Dala Diamonds at 5 and 3 up against the Cavic Brokers 6 and 2. Looks like Port's going to get that one. The Bluetown Texans 2 and 6 against the Darlington Dragons 6 and 2. So that'll be a good scalp. The Birmingham Bears 5 and 3 against the Lagerville Diamonds 2 and 6. I think that's a pretty easy one for Jack. Manchester Spinners 194 against 2 and 6 against the 5 and 3 Norwich Mustard Men. So yeah, it's looking like the top ones are going to be beating the bottom ones, apart from the London Eagles, which could help the top 7 if they beat the Guildford Raptors at 4 and 4 and keep them away from the 5 and 3s. But yeah, it's going to be.
The thing about this division as well, Johnny, and how it's completely different from the last division where everything's closer, but the top 2 are kind of away a little bit. Here, the 6 and 2s are only 1 win ahead of 7th.
Yeah.
So the 6 and 2 teams, yes, you're 6 and 2, but you lose this week and you could be right back down in the mire. You could be down in the fighting spots. So it's not quite the same as the last ones where the 6 and 2s are a little bit comfortable. They've got that gap between them and the playoff fight. But yeah, the 6 and 2s here, this one's very, very close, very, very
especially
open. So, yeah,
Kelly's scoring. I know Kelly should win that one, but if he somehow lost, he could drop down to 7th. So a lot of scores.
And he's playing one of the 5 and 3s and Dallas Diamonds as well. So yeah, I mean, in this one, what you want is the bottom 4 to be playing each other, because that then opens it up massively.
Oh no,
it's a good start for Pork as well, and that Achan hasn't exactly went nuts. He's been scoring a lot of points, a lot this season. Yeah, he'll need to take Burden out, that's for sure. Burden's not playing at all. He's got his concussion injury, so he's out.
Oh no,
he's got Devontae on bye week.
He's got Singletary, that's all he's got, because he's got 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, that's another 3 quarterback, man. But there you go. Pork's got Lamar back as well now, and look at that. He started with 36 right off the bat. So yeah, he might be behind, but he's got a lot more players left to play still.
But then he's got Daniels and he's got Stafford, so surely he's going to play one of them over Flacco.
I mean, Flacco's got. Yes, you would think he'll play Daniels over Flacco, but I mean, if you're left with Flacco there, playing Henderson's a good start this week. Obviously with Stevenson down, he's either going to hit it or he's not. But this is the week we're going to find out. So yeah, this is when you want to be playing him. But yeah, I mean, Flacco is going to score points with the weapons that he's got. I'm not averse to playing Flacco at all this week because they're playing. Who is it they're playing again? They're not playing anyone.
Chicago.
They're playing the Bears, yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely points to be had there for Flacco, but would I play him over Daniels? Probably not. Would I play him over Stafford against New Orleans? Definitely not. But then that's a decision you've got to make when you've got three quarterbacks, you know. We'll come back next week and see what one was made and if it was the right one or not. But yeah, I mean, there's so many close games. This one, obviously, the London Eagles at 1-7. I would still say that they're favourites to stay up from their scoring of the last few weeks. You know, they would love to get that win on the board though and get one over. But of course, if they do beat Guildford Raptors at 4-4, you don't want to be falling away from those 5-3s. You know, so a big game there for Guildford Raptors. And yeah, Blue Toon's got Darlington Dragons, so you would like to think that Darlington Dragons have got that in the bag. And the other group of boys, Lagersville Lemons, they've got Birmingham Bears. So Birmingham Bears win that, they're going away again, you know. Manchester Spinners at 2-6, Norwich Mustard Men. They're the ones that can put the spanners in the works now. You know, if the bottom four teams can find wins against the teams that are above them, then that certainly will close things up a little bit. But you know, the teams that are in contention right up from 8th upwards, if they're losing to those bottom four teams, then they're definitely losing losing track on the rest of them.
Definitely. Cool.
Right,
So the division, this is the one with the lowest score in OrkneyBowl history. So you got Mayeshowe Division 2, Southampton Dockers 146.3 against the Turbo Titans 65.9. Right. Whitford Educators 207.81 against the Kilmarnock Kings 192.88. Whitchurch Warriors getting a second win 207.50 against the Chester Hurricanes 147.18. Sandbach Satans back to the high scorer 255.49 against Arm the Royal Raiders 158.31. Nottingham Rebels 204.06 against the Glasgow Lightning 107.52. And the highest score in this division, not maybe the OrkneyBowl, 274.56 the Birmingham Chiefs against the Lancaster Bombers 149.72. But yes, Everett, I can tell, had a lot of players on a bye.
This was pretty much 6 butt whoopings, wasn't it? Really? I mean, there's no 6 teams scored over 200 points in this division, and 6 teams didn't, and the 6 that did won their games. You know. So what? Everett didn't do his team much with all the bye weeks. It must have been busy enough to be able.
He didn't have much difference on the bench to make a difference, to be honest. But yeah, he had 1, 2. No,
maybe it's one of those you're looking at it and you've got so many on the buy and you think, do you know what? I'm not winning this week anyway. I'm not going to destroy my team by going to agency and dropping players that I don't want to drop. If you're accepting that you're going to take the loss, then you accept that you're going to take the loss. Oh, there's Derek on. He's about wrote off the season. You're only 3-5. Stop being a big child. Pick your toys up. It's only 3-5. There's a long way to go.
And you're in 7th spot. Oh yeah, let's have a look at that. It was a close game
close
too.
enough as well. 192 points, not bad. He lost Stevenson, obviously, which was a sore one. Or he's just you would rather be on DK at the moment now, wouldn't you? And then his opponent lost Gatabo and still gave him a whipping. But yeah, I mean Pittman's fine, Metcalf's fine. Orton was a dice roll that you can see why it was done.
You get better
CMC done nothing. Kamara's such a disappointment at the moment. It's I've got him and show me the money in the home league, you know, and that's he's been really disappointing of late. So I've actually benched him this week.
So did I in a league.
But yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest disaster. What's on his bench, more to the point, you know. There's a Bo Nix issue for
Patrick Queen. If you played him this week, he scored about 20 odd points. Henry had a good game, so I'm guessing he started the week well. Yeah, Bo Nix on the bench. You had Franklin on the bench. But...
Franklin still to come in, and Joku down there. I mean, it's one of those ones, isn't it? It's a loss. It's 3-5, but 197 points or 192 points isn't a disaster. It's a great win for Whitworth Educators. So, and you have to say well done for sticking with Justin Fields. That was a big call. I don't think that's a call I could have made. So hats off to Whitworth Educators for playing them and therefore getting the win out of them.
And that gets them to 7-1. The only team in the
Yeah,
division.
Southampton Dockers are pretty much there now. They're you can start thinking about playoffs. And the way this division's looking, the 6-2 has got two games over the sixth place, and indeed 3 games over the 7th place Kilmarnock Kings. So yeah, Sandbag Satan's are looking pretty comfortable as well. But 3 down, it's all on. I mean, we've seen Turbanville Titans there with 60 odd points, but they're sitting 5-3. So not doing terrible. Of course, Aaron's Royal Raiders sitting there in 6th at 4-4, right on the cusp, right on the last spot, And as you said, right down to Whitchurch Warriors here at 2-6. They're only 2 games behind the playoff spot. So yes, they've got to start winning now. But if they start winning now, them Birmingham Master Chiefs not out of it, and not out of it by a long shot. And of course, Kilmarnock Kings are sitting there. 1,600 points for as well. So stop your greeting, Derek. You're fine. Just find a wee win this week and you'll be all right.
They've scored more points than the team at top, so there's nothing to worry about yet. So let's see how they started.
The thing is, you can do it all season long. You can score points all season long and just keep losing them. And if that's what happens, then that's what happens. That's, again, I say it, that's why we love this game and it's why we hate this game as well. It's just, because sometimes that happens.
It was Rocco and Swift scored 20 odd points, not Patrick Queen. Anyway, but Derek is actually up against the Southampton Dockers. So he'll be wanting to play the team at the top. Yeah. Whitford Warriors against Turbo Titans. I don't know what Everest predict to lose against. Sandbach Satans against the Whitford Educators. Nottingham Rebels 5-3 against 3-5 Chester Warriors. The Birmingham Master Chiefs up against the Royal Raiders. Aaron's predicted to win. And the Lancashire Bombers are up against the Glasgow Lightning. So
yeah, it's a big game for Aaron at 4-4. He's got to stay above that 500. You don't want to dip below it, and especially at 6th place, if he's got any aspirations of making those playoffs at all, he's going to need to get there that way.
Yes, Arthur, you're right.
So you should be, Arthur. He's just a big crybaby. To be fair, that's what people from Kilmarnock are like, Arthur. You've got to understand that they're a wee bit soft through there in the West.
So we had Derek Head, who he came up against Lamar Jackson. So Southampton Dockers got 36 points for one. He got 16 for Henry, and he got 14 for Buchanan.
Well, I mean, it's 33 points for Lamar's, obviously. But, Lamar owners are going to be putting them in now. You don't own Lamar Jackson and not play him when he plays. So, if you're running into Lamar this week, then you're running into 33 points. But the thing is, with the quarterbacks scoring here, many quarterbacks will score 33 points this week, so
Daniel
you
Jones
just have to hope that yours can. It's a bit different conceding 33 points against a quarterback than it is conceding them against a tight end or a wide receiver or a running back, where chances are yours won't quite get that far. There's every chance your quarterback's going to get 33 points. So that's nothing to worry about. That's just a wait and see what happens at 6 o'clock.
Definitely. So yeah, all to play for. What's Everett done? No, he's got his team playing. He sorted his team this week. They're all back in the squad.
Back in for Everett.
He's gone for Dart over Daniels.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that. I don't hate that. The 49ers defense is obviously destroyed by injury, and Dart's at home and he's making things happen a bit. I don't hate that choice. Daniels is just coming back from injury. How fit is he? Is he going to be running as much as he usually does, or is it going to be quick passes out, get him going, get the ball out there? I don't hate that move. I've got to say, playing Dart over Daniels this week, I don't hate that at all.
Well, yeah, especially McLaurin's out as well, isn't it? So
yeah, McLaurin's out too. Absolutely.
And did you see the interception that got thrown on the weekend there? It bounced off Samuel's chest and the defender caught it.
I didn't see it, but I heard that. I love the story I heard was it bounced off his face mask.
Face mask.
it bounced off his face mask straight into the defender's arms, but I've not seen it yet. I need to
It
see
was
it.
like it was like a sideways pass, so it was behind the line. It did bounce off his base, came up the air, back and caught it.
No,
It was so
so
funny.
yeah,
Like. Yeah, so that's that
that's
then.
the crap that can happen, you know. But yeah, I don't blame him for. I think playing Dart over Daniels isn't a bad call this week. I've got to say.
I do remember in a rookie draft that somebody's laughed at me a bit for drafting Scatterbo and then drafting Dart, Craig.
Oh, it might have been me, Johnny. That it wasn't anything to do with the two players as much as it was you jumping on your Giants bandwagon. That was the reason behind that. I drafted Scatterbo quite a bit. In fact, I traded up into the first round in one draft to draft Scatterbo, so I did. Gave away my first round for next year to get Scatterbo. So
I think
yeah,
it was in the
I mean,
family one.
I was in
Yeah.
for Scatterbo, and I mean Dart's got a long way to go. Obviously, so we're only just starting out with him, and defenses don't know what he like. But he looks pretty decent. But he needs some, you know, you need neighbours back. He needs the targets. Is the problem I see Dart having this year? But certainly looking very good and looking on for if he can continue to get some wins on the board, then you know, offensive rookie of the year is very much in his grasp, I would say.
I know. It's quite annoying, like, it'd be quite funny if Scatterbo stayed healthy and got it. He'd probably smack it off his head, like, but that's not going to happen. But there's a lot of good rookies about. Ken, you got to book
yeah, but it's going to go to the quarterback.
Tyler Warren. He's had a good year. Yeah. But then what's the rookie quarterbacks? I don't, even if Dart wins more games, I'm not sure he's good enough to be rookie of the year, to be honest. But then who else you got? Cam Ward? No. Dylan Sampson? No.
Well, he's got, there's not, I mean, his only competition probably right now is Booker if he really kicks it and, you know, kicks off. But as I say, you know what it's like. They always give it the quarterbacks. I think that's an absolute shoe-in for offensive rookie of the year.
Well, that would be nice, like, because he's a nice guy too. Like, I watched a couple of videos of him before the season started, and he seemed quite okay. Like, so yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a nice bit of fresh air. No Russell Wilson. Oh yeah, Judkins or Fannin. But yeah, that's the other two I meant to say. But yeah, definitely not Genty. Anyway, we'll go on to We'll go on to the Happy Valley Division 1. So we had a 2-6 and 1 against each other. The Kirkwall Cowboys 175 against the Melbourne Supremacy 189. Alan getting another win.
200 points.
Yeah. 180 points for Alan against 135 for the EU Villains, so Kirkwall Raiders win that one. South London Rebels 185.11 against the Portland Lumberjacks 159. The Bolton Regis Falcons 242.72 against the Crew Juggernauts 184.65. The Dobles Darla Diamonds, the Darla Destroyers losing their second game 192.63 against 206.53 Dignity Demons. And the Belfast Benchwarmers are 213 points against the Gothenburg Angels 161. So yeah, so that's the Melbourne Supremacy up the top. And Kirkwall Cowboys still sitting in second due to points scored. Getting 1,700 points. So they're scoring well.
Yeah, but I mean, the Melbourne Supremacy at 7-1, and the Belfast Benchwarmers in 7th at 3-5. So that's a 4-game difference. I think Melbourne Supremacy can start to think about playoff time and maybe start to think about winning Happy Valley Division 1 because that is Division 1. So, you know, always nice to see that out. But yeah, Kirkwall Cowboys, Darlow Destroyers, and South London Rebels all looking very good to make the playoffs at 6-2 there as well, 3 games ahead. So this is looking like it's a chase for the last 2 spots to see who can join the Big 4 and the playoffs. And it's open to all. It's open to all, right down to Yeovil Villains. They're on 12th at 2 and 6. They just need to get a win streak going. You know, if they can go 5-1 over the last 6 games, that's probably going to be enough to get them in at 7-7, you know. So
you got to think for Rosso, he was 5-0 against 5-0 and lost, and he was 6-1 and 6-1 and lost. But he's conceded he's got the third highest points against, 4th highest points against, and the highest score. So he's obviously been in high scoring games when he's lost. So and he's had a couple of high scoring games, so he's got the team to win it.
Yeah,
But it
so
is
I mean,
lost.
it's
So,
nothing to worry about. You know, he's just got to keep plugging away and knowing that the points are there, and when the points are there, the games will come. You know, as you say, he played against a 5-0, and he's played against a 7-1. So surely, to goodness, his time's coming to play those teams down the bottom. And the teams are down the bottom for a reason. They're down there because maybe they've got some injuries. They've had some, you know, they've got a couple of bad injuries. They've had a couple of, maybe drafted a few players that haven't performed. You know, they've maybe got a Jameson Williams down there. You know, someone's picked him up. Obviously, you know, someone have drafted him and not doing anything. And so he's going to be playing these teams soon. Is my point. You know, so at 6-2, I don't think Ross will be sitting quite happy with himself in here. I would say at 6-2. And
well,
very
the
much in
Melbourne
Division One,
Supremacy
very much in contention of being the conference's representative.
So the Melbourne Supremacy are on a 4-game win streak. The Bognor Regis Falcons are on a 4-game win streak, and the South London Rebels are on a 3-game win streak.
So that's for Bognor Regis Falcons. They obviously started 0-4 then because they're 4-4 now. So
Yeah,
that's a heck of a turnaround. You know, very good work there to turn it round from 0-4 and just 4 games later be sitting in a playoff spot. That's some going.
because if you get a run, you can get up there. So that's a good way of showing it that way. And
Yeah,
242
that's
points
division.
this
That's
week
why
too.
that's division's opened up in the sense that the top 4 are kind of gone here. You know, it's a top division though, so you do expect that to happen. The cream rises to the top. You know, and especially in the top division, that's how it's going. That's how it's going to happen. So
Yeah, I'm still a bit
we'll
surprised
see.
by
We'll,
Gothenburg Angels because they usually do a lot better than that. But
yeah,
maybe it's just
again,
not
it's
their year. So
good seasons, bad seasons is a thing, you know, and it's at the end of the day, no matter how much knowledge you have in the NFL, no matter how good you are at picking the players, no matter how much you study, no matter how much you look into it, you're 2 injuries away from being dead, you know, and that is the big thing. You're 2 injuries away from what you're doing now, sucker. And the players who absolutely do the best and absolutely rise to the top are the ones who can overcome that by good work in agency, by maybe going and making a trade or two, by getting the right people out of agency at the right time. It's the draft in this game is only like 1/10 of the actual.
yeah,
It's it's only 1/10 of the decision of who's going to win. The draft is
and
a small part of it, you know.
and there has been a few trades this year, but I mean, like there's not been as many trades as some other leagues because even though you might not be there, you're still fighting even in the bottom half to stay in that division. So you're not going to chuck it all in because you're not going to win
What's that?
because
Well,
you've
you
got to try
can't,
and
yeah,
stay
because
survival. So
you got it's all about that's the whole idea of the OrkneyBowl, isn't it? It's all
yeah,
about survival. It's not about winning. It's about not losing. It's about not going down. It's about promotion, not relegation. You know, and that's the joy of it.
well, I have suffered the relegation thing, so I'm not going to do that again. So I want to go back
Yeah,
up.
certainly. Melbourne Supremacy are absolutely leading the way in the conference, top of the conference, and favourites to be the representative.
Yep.
A long way
So
to go yet, 6
still a long way
weeks.
to go because they're pretty close at the top. So going to the East Conference, we've got the Millhead division. So we've got the Laxdale Legend, 183.17 against Workshop Tough Rookies, 227.88. The Edinburgh Thunderbirds, 150.41 against Yes Ian, well done, Preston Mooney Tunes, 200.78. The Lee Vikings, 215.47 against the Portsmouth Pirates at 165.41. Arthur bouncing back with 211.70 against the Chicago Scorpions, 187.74. Pez got a bye this week, 173 points. Preston Hawks against the Bucks Golders, 111.26. And the Near Knights are 217.48, but unfortunately coming up against 235.68, the Bedford Brewskis. That's how many teams got 200 points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So half the teams got it, unfortunately. Near Knights were up against one of the teams that got the highest one. So there's
Yeah,
Fergus Scorpions.
well, it would be rude not to mention the Preston Munitions, after
I know the better. And Arthur's
getting
here
their
too.
win.
Arthur's
Getting
on
their
as
win,
well.
So they got their win, they got their 200 points, and they got their win. It's 2-6, so I'm still officially writing you off. But
But look at that.
that's with Baker doing absolutely nothing, Baker and
Bijan.
Bijan. I mean, to get 200 points, having Baker and Bijan as your first two players, that's
Kelsey.
super shooting. Really, it must have been a massive performance from the defense. Spillane with 32 points here,
Yeah.
and Singleton with 20 and a half. So, I mean, yeah, great scoring, good shooting, and with players that you expect to get more out of not doing it. So, I mean, maybe they're not quite dead yet. How's the division looking at the bottom, Johnny? Let's see how the division's
Well, we'll have a
looking.
look at Arthur first, because Arthur's here. Oh, so Arthur's lost Swift. So you'll have to get somebody. You got Drake May, possible MVP. Chase,
Where
Booty,
are you standing with Bill now? Where are you standing with Bill? I mean, for me, I'm tapping out of Bill completely now. It's just not it's just not happened, has it? It was a nice story and all that, but it's just not happened.
In fairness, I never tapped in him either, to be honest. Because
But I
that
mean,
Washington running backs are a mess.
I know completely. But I mean, Arthur's looking fine there. He's got Chase's. He'll be delighted that Chase is starting to get the
100
attention now
targets a game.
from
Yeah.
getting some targets in that again. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think he's on track for over 300. He's on track for over 300 receptions this year. If with Flacco, if he played 17 games with Flacco, he'd be on for 300 receptions. But
Yeah, he's getting like 17 targets a game.
Right up there at 5 and 3 as well, so going really well.
Definitely. Good
Keeping
scoring
up.
too. Yeah,
And
so
again, this is one where 5 and 3 is all the way down to 6, and then you've got 1, 4 and 4 there at 7, and then the 3 and 5s right down to 2. The 2 and 6s, they're 3 behind. If that was 4 and 4 and 6, you would think maybe a chance, but you're 3 games behind with 6 to play. That's half of them. So you need to win the next 3. You need to win half the games just to be tied with a playoff spot. So
I reckon they'd have to win 5 at the next 6, 5 at the last 6 to get there.
That's exactly it, and it still might not be enough in this division the way it sits, because you've got all of those teams at 5 and 3, and of course Chicago Scorpions there at 6 and 2. There is no relegation, so it's all about looking up, So the 2 and 6s, Gary as well, and Ian, they've both got to just look at it and say, right, here we come, caution to the wind, This is the time to take the swing on, totally out there ones that might have a big game. This is the time to swing on Xavier Leggett. This is the time to swing on guys like that who maybe were thought of but haven't really done anything. This is time to throw in a Van Jefferson and just see if it can be his week. Throw in a Darnell Mooney who's done nothing all week. You've got to take chances now because you've got nothing to lose.
Well, Pezzi's just picked up the last couple of days. Christian Watson, Torrey Horton, and Parker Washington 6 minutes ago for him. Obviously,
exactly.
He's got to give it a go, and that's him trying to get up there. He's only 2 games
Torrey
back.
Horton.
So,
that's exactly one like Torrey Horton. Perfect choice, perfect decision there in the sense that Cup's hurt. He's got a couple of injuries. Chuck in Torrey Horton and see what happens because what happens if it doesn't work? It doesn't work. Where are you anyway? You're out. There's only upside now when you're down at the bottom. There's only upside in trying it, and if it doesn't work, well, it's on to next year. You can't be relegated anyway.
I know. I'd like to say, Ken, this is Ian's first year. He only joined it this year, so it's a bit of a learning experience with as Pez keeps on calling it, Johnny's fucking funky scoring.
Johnny's funky scoring, how well it is that's for sure. But you've always
it's not going to change. So the more years you play in it, the more you get used to the scoring. That's what I look at.
Absolutely.
I'm still not used to it myself for some of them. But. So the workhorses are up against the Preston Mooney Tunes for 5 and 3 against 2 and 6. So there's one you really need to win. Then you've got 5 and 3 Laxio Legends against the 5 and 3 Portsmouth Pirates. 5 and 3 Edinburgh Thunderbirds against the 5 and 3 Plymouth Argyle Browns. The Leeds Vikings have got the bye week against the Bucks Gold Rush. The Chicago Scorpions 6-2 against the 3-5 Nairn Knights. Probably should win that one. And you've got the 3-5 Preston Hawks against the 3-5 Bedford Brewskis. So yeah. Well, the problem with Peds is that the Leeds Vikings at 4-4. They're going to get to 5.
Get Bucks Gold Rush, because it's, as you say, it almost looks like a bye week there with the favouritism as well. So, Gary's obviously not done anything yet because he's got a book in and he's got Holland and he's got options there on the bench. So if Gary comes and does his team, obviously that gets closer. But a great week for Leeds Vikings to get a team that's down at 2-6 because at 4-4 with the 5 and 3s there, he's got to be winning that one. It's a big game to win and he's got the best chance to do so playing against bottom of the league.
You've got 2
big game for. Yeah, again, that's the 2-5. One of them's one of them's kind of putting half a foot in the playoffs, and the other one's getting dragged into the battle. So again, the winner of that game will be feeling a heck of a lot better about their chances this time next week.
And I'm guessing workhorses now. Sorry, they probably had Tyler Luke because I think he only got 4 points. Yeah, because he went for it 4th and 1 on the goal line. But he really got an extra field goal. So, yeah, it's not a best start for him.
Yeah, 4 points is never but do you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Even if someone's kicker goes off and scores 12 points is going off for the kickers, 14 points, say you're still only you're only losing it by 10, that possession type thing, and as you say, you just circled them there. Jonathan Taylor can heal a lot of bills, so he can this season. He's absolutely flying, and I see no reason for that to be any different against Pittsburgh today. That's
well, if there's a non-QB should get MVP, it's bloody Jonathan Taylor, even just for the last 5 weeks. But
at this moment in time, but let's just I wouldn't be jumping up and down about let's see how he finishes as well. I mean, if Barkley didn't get it last year, then no one's ever getting it. I don't think, but there you go.
No, but but that's it. Barkley should have got it last year, and he should have got Peterson should have got it when he was running through everybody. So, like you say, it's usually a quarterback, and it probably will be again, unfortunately. So I've got the Queen Hill. I don't really want to do this one because I lost. But Orkney Orcas 135.98 against the Preston Packers 214. Hotshot Hot Dogs 162.53 against the Edinburgh Packers. A big smile there. 225.43. The Aberdeen Bucks 245.97 against Poor Roddy. Backfoot Panthers 218.41. The Top Head Niners got 170 points. It was enough to beat the bottom Bears. 150. The Rotherham Raiders under 38.2 against the Chicago Chargers, one of the high-flying teams at the moment, 226.82. And the Glossop Fighting Gophers, 187 against the Newcastle Buccaneers. So last week's top two teams got 135 and 150.
It's kind of the way it's been flown this whole entire season, and I mean things are tight here as well. In the sense that there's 4-4 holding the last playoff spot. So the 2-6s down the bottom there, Rotherham Raiders, myself, and the Hot Dogs. We're not dead completely because we are only 2 wins behind 6th, but of course we do. Not only do we need Top Head Niners to start losing, we also need Newcastle Buccaneers and Bankfoot Panthers and Glossop Fighting Gophers to be losing as well. But, for me personally, I've had 2 wins in a row now, and so I'm on a wee bit of a win streak. If I can win the next 2 in a row, then I'll start to think, do you know what? I'm not out of it yet. But at worst, I want that to all close up because I want to get the bye. And if I'm in the consolations, I want to get the bye. I want to only have to win 1 game to stay in the division. I don't want to have to win 2. So that's my target here. But yeah, I mean, it's all very tight there. Newcastle Buccaneers and Top Head Niners at 4-4. Bottom Bears, Aberdeen Bucks 5-3, and then it's up to the 6-2. So I would say that the Preston Panthers, Kirkwall Chargers, and your good self, Johnny, the Orkney Orkners, I would say you guys are 1 win away from being comfortable, and 1 more win and you're kind of comfortable, and then it's going to be a battle for 4th, 5th, 6th.
you want the top headliners to lose this week. Unfortunately, they're playing me, and I'm missing
Well, I definitely
3 stars this week, who should be back next week, hopefully. But I think Doug's probably playing me at the right time.
maybe,
But that's the way it
maybe,
goes.
but
But then
that means
McCaffrey goes
live
up
on
against the
this one.
Giants. He gets another 50-pointer, then I've got a chance.
I mean, it's a very tight, and it's, that can make such a difference. Just one player going absolutely off and one and scoring 40, 50 points. It can make such a huge difference. And a matchup. I mean, Doug won last week, but he won with 170 points, so it's not like he's scoring silly. It's so yeah, it's all very tight. And at 2-6, obviously, I'm not expecting to get a run at the playoffs, but what I'm expecting to do is keep myself in the division because I think my team is okay. It's solid enough.
So you're up against the bottom Bears this week. It's going to be a close one. Like I say, Orkney Orcas are playing the top headliners, 6-2, 4-4. Aberdeen Bucks are up against the Hot Dogs, so 5-3, 6-2, 6. Edinburgh Barkers 2-6 against the 5-3 bottom Bears. But the close one. The Kirkwall Chargers are up against the Backfoot Panthers, so Pure Road is up against another high-scoring team, but it's going to be a close one. The Rotherham Raiders against the Newcastle Buccaneers. The Raiders are a good start. Still project to lose, but you 2-6 against 4-4. The Preston Panthers 6-2 are up against the Gloucester Fighting Gophers 3-5. So projection wise, they're all very, very close.
Well, this is one of those ones here, Johnny, where see if the 6-2s can all win, the 3 6-2s can all win. You're all playing against 4-4, 3-5, 3-5. So I really want you guys to win, because if you 3 win and I win, then it gets me back in the fight, because you 3 are gone. We're playing for 4th, 5th, and 6th, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine just playing for 6th, to have a sniff of anything. So yeah, I'm hoping all 3 6-2s win this week, and all games look very, very tight here. They look like they could go either way, all of them.
Well, it's going to be closer because at the moment, Doug's not got a kicker. So he puts a kicker in, that's going to be a hell of a lot closer. So, unless he has, but I don't think he has. No. But then he's also he's not sorted his team because he probably play Walker, I'd imagine, over Mason. Because Mason did bugger all with Jones back. Dowdle should have a good game, but he had to against Green Bay defense.
He'll definitely put Walker in, I would imagine. That's one that he'll do. But yeah, I know he's at work today, so I'm sure he'll be on it before the games kick off.
Oh, hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I hope not as well. But
obviously
yeah,
you don't see it here, but my 3 IR are Bucky Irvin, Garrett Wilson, and Judkins, who hopefully all should be back next week, and that's me sorted. So.
You're leaving Pierce and Watson on your bench this week. That's bravey moves for me. I think Watson's ready. This is going to be the week he kicks in, and Pierce is a long ball there
because I haven't really sorted it because I've got Franklin and Sutton. So
I'm not convinced I'd be playing Sutton. Are you not giving up on Sutton yet? He's absolutely been poor this year. Do you know Bo Nix is the second best scoring quarterback in most scoring permutives this year, and Sutton's been absolutely dire.
He's had a couple of good games. He's like he'll get some targets. He'll get like 90-odd yards. He's just not getting the touchdowns. So I don't know. It's just he's going to have one. The week you drop him, the week he's going to have a massive one. Alec Pierce had a good game when Josh Downs is down. So he put me on I put Franklin last week. He scored 20 points. So he's not going to do that again. Not against that defense.
Play the name, play the situation, Johnny. Get Christian Watson in or get Pierce in. Get one of them in. Get them both in. I would say.
Last time I listened to you, I got fucking beat. Because you told me what tight end to put in, and the one I dropped scored 20 points. The one I had in scored 4.
Well, you do tend to listen to me because you got your trade in the home league. I literally spelled it out on the show, and then the very next day that trade happened, which I loved.
That night, but then also he scored 0 points last week.
I was going to say for Jake Ferguson, who then goes egg this week, but we'll not go into that further.
Yeah, but I didn't
But
need
yeah,
him this week.
it's a
That was the
tight
thing.
division, Johnny. It's a very close division. But as I say, I hope the Kirkwall Chargers, and I hope the Preston Panthers all go bye bye and all win this week and go knock yourself
I
into the
do too.
playoffs. And it
I'm
gives me a
hoping the same
chance of
thing,
maybe
so it's
joining
okay.
you at the back half.
I just know no matter what happens this week, I'm still happy enough because I'm going to get those 3 back
Yeah,
next week
6 and 3,
probably.
you're fine. 6 and 3, you're
Then
fine as well.
yeah, so I'm all good because like Arvin's just awesome. So he was a good draft choice. So Division 2, so the only 0-8 teams, so we've got Yesnavy Division 2. So we've got Leeds Leopards, 124-15 against the Warners Bay Goonies under 64. Ancoat Citizens, 279 against EK Colts, 211. Solihull Sharks, 210.99 against the Arcadia Red Rose, 220.98. The Auckland Warriors, 213.87 against the Yorkshire Finns, 157. Darlington Rams, 204 against 156 Sorens Flyers. Then you've got the New Mexico Chupacabras, 172 against the New Barstow Masters, 171.17. So this did survive a score correction because they both got deducted points.
That's a very tight one. It's like a
It was like one
one.
was 1 point, one was 1.5. So yeah, so it didn't affect it there. I thought it might have done, but there you go. So we've got 2 6 and 2s, 4 5 and 3s, 3 4 and 4s, and 2 2 and 6s, and we'll forget about the Leeds Leopards at the bottom.
Yeah, so the Leeds Leopards are kind of gone, and that's what happens when you get a team that's kind of way down here at 0-8, 1 and 7. You know, it does kind of tend to bag up the rest, and so I mean the 2 and 6s as well. Arcadia Red Wolves and New Mexico Chipabras at 2 and 6 is 3 games back, 6 games to go. It's a long way, but I'll tell you, the New Bars and Marshals, if they don't make the playoffs by 1 game, that wee 1 pointer's going to come back and bite them this week, you know. But as what it is, it's that's what happens in fantasy football. I'm afraid the Sorens Fifers losing again this week and starting to fall back a little bit now, down to 5 and 3. Our Martin will be sweaty bum cheek time. He'll be looking over his shoulder, you know, no wanting to come down because it goes all the way to 9th for 4 and 4, you know. So there are so many teams there where if you lose 1 game, you might not. It's not maybe a slip of 1 or 2 positions. You could slip 5 or 6. You know, you could slip 5 places back, and that's what you need to avoid. That's what you need to. And being 1 game into the playoffs, it might be 4th, but yeah, need to win a few now. Same with EK Colts, same with Yorkshire Finns, and same with New Bars and Marshalls. All those at 5 and 3 there. 6 and 2s, sure, you know, they're comfortable, and if they lose this week, they're 6 and 3 still. But they're to lose 2 in a row, that's the thing. If you're to lose 2 in a row and go to 6 and 4, that's when you're then looking over your shoulder a little bit, you know, and you're dragged back into it again, especially with all those teams that are there, 5 and 3 and 4 and 4. So yeah, this one's very, very tight as well. And of course, this is the Division 2, you know, this gets you up into the top division and a chance to play for the whole shebang. So
here we go. So we've got a
a lot
5
of them
and
will have
3
eyes on the
EK
prize.
Colts against a 4 and 4 Warners Bay Goonies. So you get the Leeds Leopards or Arcadia Red Rose. So we've got the bye this week against Leeds Leopards, so they could go 3 and 6 like you want them to. And got
It's a good game for them.
Against Yorkshire Finns 5 and 3. Well, we've got a battle of the 4 and 4. So Solihull Sharks against the Darlington Rams. You've got the Norton Warriors 6 and 2 against the New Barstow Masters 5 and 3. The Newcastle Chupacabras are up against the 5 and 3 Sorens Flyers. So Martin, I'll be hoping for a bouncy back bit and get them up to the 6 wins, which looking like it could happen.
He couldn't have ran into a better game this week, you know, than one of the 2 and 6s. Well, that one, I guess. But yeah, he's playing one of the 2 and 6s. And more importantly, the 0 and 8 is playing another one of the 2 and 6s. So Martin, really, if he gets a win here, which you should do when you're 5 and 3 and they're 2 and 6, if you can get that win there, well, the other 2 right down the bottom are playing each other. So that means that the rest are all cutting each other's noses off, you know, and especially there, the Solihull Sharks and the Darlington Rams, both at 4 and 4. You know, that's a huge game. Winner gives himself a real good shout at getting into the playoffs. and losers facing an uphill battle with the 5 to go, and it doesn't kill them. It doesn't kill the loser in any way whatsoever. They're still right in the chase, but it just makes you feel that wee bit more comfortable when you're 5-4. 5-4 will inevitably take Sam and his Darlington Rams into the playoff spots, and once you're there, it's yours to lose, especially with 5 weeks to go.
Yes, but they could do. They might just be missing out because if Newcastle beat Darlington, but it depends on Yorkshire Finns who scored more points. 1670. Yeah, Yorkshire Finns have got like a 100 odd point lead, but then having said that, I had a 140 point lead over Kirkwall Chargers, and now it's down to 20.
It goes very quickly, and a couple of injuries, couple of ouchies, couple of injuries, and it's gone. It's away. You've went from scoring 250 points a week to scoring 150 points a week. And it's like,
not even
points go, and it's
not even that 130. That was 135, and that's only because I picked up bloody Franklin. They scored 20. My defense scored 10 points between them. So it's like, it doesn't help. But no, like I say, it's pretty close up here as well.
Well, it's all very, very tight. As I say, the 10th down, I would say, forget it. You're 3 games behind with 6 to play. I don't think that's catchable. I think what you have to start thinking about now is getting your squad the way you want your squad to look for weeks 15, 16, 17 to keep yourself in the division. I wouldn't even be looking at next week. If I'm Leeds Leopards, I'm going to the agency and I'm trying to pick up players who I think are going to be very relevant in those last 3 weeks of the season to keep myself in the playoff, keep myself in Division 2. Because Division 3 is a slippery slope back up after that. It's you've got a couple of years to wait before you can have a shot at it at the best. But I mean, he's got Aaron Jones here to come back. Obviously, he's got Brown, he's got Wilson. Brown will be back off by this week. Wilson's should be back off by this week. Should be fit again. So I mean, there's players there that are very scoreable, that are very doable. Bit of a problem at running back, but I mean. At the end of the day, all they need to do is win 2 games. Week 50, 1 week 15, 1 week 16, you're safe. You're in the division. That's all you need to do. And nothing else in between now and then, Matt. Absolutely nothing else matters for Leeds Leopards between now and then. They could win the next 6 in a row. They're still not making the playoffs. So get your team right for week 15.
They could be 0-14 and still stay up by winning 2 games.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
You look at that way.
They need to get their team right for week 16. Week 15, sorry.
Yeah. So we'll go on to the top division, St Magnus. So we've got the Godalming Goats 178 against the Harlow Harlequins 156.66. The Dublin Everton Blues 135.54 against the Carlton Crew coming through 215.58. Leicester Tigers 208.06 against the Whitford Rockstars 211.64. Seattle Patriots 228.47 against the Stockholm Bengals 191.44. These last was on 78.58 against the Manchester Bees 190.40. The Nurse Sean, the Newcastle Colts, even though he's not changed his name still, 203.72 against the Glasgow Eagles 172.35. So we've got 2 teams at 6 and 2 here. So the Manchester Bees are back up to second spot with the 6 and 2. 2 5 and 3s. Lots of 4 and 4s. 2 3 and 5s and 2 2 and 6s. So
yes,
fifth place is sitting 4 and 4.
Fifth place is sitting 4 and 4 here, which really does open it up, and it really does leave it, even for the 2 and 6s, it gives them a shot. They're only 2 behind. They're only 2 behind fifth, not even sixth. So yeah, that's kind of how they've got to be looking at it. And as for Whitworth Rockstars and Manchester Bees, well, they're looking, saying, right, well, we're 2 wins ahead of 7, so 1 more win. If we can win this week, that really should secure it. 3 ahead with 5 to play type thing. And they will, if they win this week, they will be 3 ahead of whoever's in 7th. So, yeah, very, very tight in the sense of the chasing of the playoff places. And, ideally the ones that are your Glasgow Eagles, your Godalming Goats, they want Whitworth Rockstars and Manchester Bees to win and go away because they want to keep everybody else in touching distance. And Carlton Crew, they must be on a wee winning streak now because they'd started very poorly in terms of wins. So that must be a couple they've won in a row now at least. So yeah, that's them moved up into the playoff spots. Stoke-on-Bengals holding the last one. Seattle Patriots and Dublin Everton Blues both at 4 and 4. I mean, it's all to play for there.
So the Whitford Rockstars are 4 in a row wins. Manchester Bees 2, Carlton Crew 3, and the Seattle Patriots are sitting at 3 wins in a row as well. They've got 4-4. But the Dublin Everton Blues and the Glasgow Eagles are 3 in a row loss. Leeds Lepers are 4 losses in a row. They've gone slipping away down.
Yeah, it's
the
Glasgow Eagles. The Glasgow Eagles 3 losses in a row has got to be hurting Graham. That's after being sitting 3 and 2 to lose 3 in a row like that. That's that can really do some damage. As you can see, it has done some damage because at 3 and 2 he would have been up in the playoff spots, and now he's away down in 9th. But I mean, yeah, and this one, obviously keep saying it, but the winner here goes into the championship game, so will be the representative for the conference. So it really is, everyone's got something to play for, and even the two and sixes are not dead because they're chasing 4 and 4, and they're chasing it in 5th place as well. It's not just one team that's there; it's 2, 5th and 6th are both 4 and 4, so wide open.
Yep. So we've got the Dublin Everton Blues 4 and 4 against the 3 and 5 Godalming Goats, the 2 and 6 Harrow Harlequins against the 6 and 2 Whitford Rockstars, the Seattle Patriots 4 and 4 against the Carlton Crew 4 and 4. So there's a win streak on the line there. Leicester Tigers 5 and 3 against the Manchester Bees 6 and 2. Glasgow Eagles 3 and 5 against the Stoke-on-Bengals 4 and 4. And the 5 and 3 Newcastle Colts against the 2 and 6 Leeds Lassos.
Yeah, I mean, the Newcastle Colts have got a good time to run into one of the 2 and 6s. It's if Sean can get the win there, that puts them 6 and 3 in it. Just gives them that nice gap. And but the 4 and 4, the Seattle Patriots and the Carlton Crew, both on 3-game win streaks. So both sat 1 and 4. Both have won 3 in a row to get to 4 and 4. And now one of them's going to win and put themselves in a right good place, and another one's going to be right back to square one. And that's that's just the way it goes. And it doesn't mean that you're out of it. It just means that you're kind of back to square one in that chasing group again, where you're trying to chase the ones above. So, but massive game there as well. If the Manchester Bees can beat the Leicester Tigers, that would put their foot in there, beating one of the 5 and 3 teams. And the other 6 and 2 team, the Whitworth Rockstars, well, they've won a watch with Harlow Harlequins at 2 and 6. They win that game.
Between them.
They're looking good to be in the playoffs, certainly, and playing for it, And again, the Leeds Lassos and the Harlow Harlequins down there at 2 and 6. It's slightly different from the last division in that they're not completely out of it yet. So it's not all about week 15 and 16 because, if they can find a couple of wins now, it does give them a shout of getting back into the hunt for the playoffs, But I would say they have to win 2 in a row to see where they're at after 10 weeks, But they would need to win the next two games. But it's not for them. I would still be looking at now as opposed to looking at week 15 and saying, "Boy, I need to stay in this division."
Definitely. Yeah, that's another good one. So that's the league's finished. We'll go have a look at the Rousay Cup. I'll have to change the screen so we're not blocking anything. There we go. So this, I've got the main scores. Obviously, the second leg scores are just below them. So the 2 legs. So Dickensheath Demons ended up with 320 points against 425 points of South London Rebels, the year 1 winner. The Norton Rebels ended up 440 points against 355 points of Dover Darla Diamonds. So that's the Norton Rebels. So the Turbo Titans didn't help with a 65 bloody point.
No.
268 points against the Portland Lumberjacks, 351. So if they had managed to score 165 points, they would have won.
Yeah.
The Plymouth Argyle Browns, 403 points against the Melbourne Supremacy, 381. There was only 1 point between them to start with. So that's a good win for Arthur. He's happy. Blackfoot Panthers 383 against 392, the Aberdeen Bucks. Newcastle Colts 428 against 366, the Manchester Spinners. Ancoats Citizens 472 against the Chicago Scorpions 399. 409 points for our defending Scarborough champions, or the champions, Darlow Destroyers, but up against the Darlington Dragons 423. And then you've got the Whitford Rock Stars 456 against the 292 Dublin Everton Blues. Arcadia Red Bulls 440 points against 330 points Peterhead Bloody Jets. Gloucester Wolfpack 402 against the Kilmarnock Kings. So you got through there, 405.
Just
Chargers,
teeth.
457 against 421 Birmingham Bears. 335 points to 338. 3 points. Winners Portsmouth Panthers, Portsmouth Pirates actually, over the Bottom Bears. One of the Cheeseheads 421 against the Waterton Warriors 375. The Bangham Sharks 421 against the 384 Royal Raiders. Then the Southampton Dockers 330 points against the Edinburgh Thunderbirds 350. So even if you're 7-1, you can still get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's tight.
It is. So yeah, you've got the one of the Cheeseheads against Bangham Sharks, so Marvick Head against Dorothy Stain. Newcastle Colts at Magnus against Nottingham Rebels at Maze Howe. Portland Lumberjacks Happy Valley against the Queen Hill of very own Aberdeen Bucks. Kilmarnock Kings Maze Howe against Edinburgh Thunderbirds Millhead. Darlington Dragons Marvick Head against the Plymouth Argyle Browns Millhead. You've got the Portsmouth Pirates Millhead against the Ancoats Citizens Yesterday. Arcadia Red Wolves against the Yesterday against the Kirkwall Chargers Queen Hill. Whitford Rock Stars at Magnus against the South London Rebels Happy Valley. So that'll be a good one because you're top of Division 1 against third, or one game back, Division 1 in the West. So that's a cracking game, that one. So I think every division is represented at the moment, which is better than last year, I think. So
Millhead got 3 teams in, so they're obviously flying high there. But yeah, I mean, this is the stage where you're in the last 16 now. You're at this is something to have a wee look at. Now I've maybe got a wee shout here, and there's Derek sitting there. He's Kilmarnock Kings after a 3-point win over 2 legs, which is pretty midges bohier stuff. But yes, well done, Derek. Keep it up. You've got a chance of winning the cup there, and that's the thing. No matter how badly, no matter what your record is, no matter how bad you're playing, no matter how bad your teams are, you only need to beat one. You only need to beat that one team you're playing over there, and it's in the cup. Anything can happen. Make sure, especially if you're in the cup, get your team done. You've got a chance of winning something. You got a good chance of winning something. You only need to beat 3 more players, and you're in the final. So. It's something to get excited about at that stage, Well, I mean, I'm saying that. I don't know. I'll tell you when I get there, but I assume I'll tell you whatever happens. I doubt it will.
2 years out of 3 have been the highest scoring team in my group and locked out.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Because, you're up against, because obviously you're only playing 3 out of the first 6 weeks, and you can have an absolute high cracking score, but you're not playing that week in the Rousay Cup because the other 2 are playing. But well, that is all good, and good luck to everybody in week 9, apart from Doug, because I could really do with a win. Yes. I think Craig really wants Doug to lose, so that I'll keep us both happy if that happens. But
I want the 3-6-2s to all win, and of course I've got the Bottom Bears who are at 5-3, so I can bring them back into the mire a little bit. So I mean it's all to play for, Johnny, for everyone. There's a couple of teams in Division 4 that are down, the 2 Division 4s that are down the bottom, maybe don't have much to play with for this season. But I mean, there's 96 teams in this league, and even if you're sitting at 0-8, 1-7, you're still playing to keep your team in the division, so you've still got that to look at, you've still got that to think about. If you think you can get into the top 2, 7th or 8th to get the bye in the first week, go for it. But if you don't, if you're settling for the fact that you've got 2 playoff games to win to keep yourself in the division, start looking at week 15 matchups. Start picking players up from agency that you think will help then, not now, because that could make the difference.
Yeah. Or even trade if you can. For a player that might do well and somebody needs them, but you're looking at somebody that they've got that you need for week 15 and 16.
Exactly.
You're not caring about if it's just the lineup. So everybody
The trading window is still open, and that's it. You know, you go and find someone who's got a real good run week 15, 16, those 2 weeks, you know. Yeah, the trade window's still open. That's another way of going about it.
I know. I suppose it does get a bit hard on you there. Like I think last year for year one, I got a trade 2 weeks before the window finished, which helped me. But yeah, anything can happen. So good luck everybody this week, apart from
Doug.